The day had started like any other on the bustling set, with cameras flashing and the crew scurrying about, but no one could have predicted the storm that was about to unfold between Dylan and Shen Yue. Everyone had sensed the tension for weeks, the subtle glances that lingered too long, the whispers in hallways that hinted at unspoken emotions. But today the air was heavier, charged with an electric anticipation, as if fate itself had drawn a line between what was expected and what was about to happen. Shen Yue had arrived early, her heart pounding with a mixture of excitement and apprehension. She had rehearsed her lines countless times, but none of them mattered now. All that mattered was Dylan, who had been distant for days, a shadow of the warmth he usually radiated. She saw him from across the set, leaning against the wall with his arms crossed, eyes clouded and unreadable. For a moment time seemed to pause, the bustling world fading into a dull hum. Dylan's gaze met hers, and for a heartbeat, it felt like the old magic between them flickered back to life. But then, without a word, he turned, his stride purposeful, leaving Shen Yue frozen, as if the ground beneath her had been pulled away. Whispers spread like wildfire, the crew exchanging nervous glances, sensing the rupture. Shen Yue's chest tightened, a suffocating mix of shock and disbelief settling over her. How could he just walk away like this after everything they had shared, every secret smile and hidden touch? She followed, her steps tentative at first, then determined, calling his name, but Dylan did not slow. The sound of her voice, usually enough to make him stop, now seemed to bounce off an invisible wall. He walked with the same resolute calm that had always been his strength, but today it was a blade slicing through her heart. Each step he took seemed to echo in the hollow space she suddenly felt inside her, a void where certainty and trust had once lived. Dylan reached the edge of the parking lot, the sun casting long, sharp shadows across the asphalt. Shen Yue's breath hitched, tears threatening to spill over. She had imagined this moment 1,000 times, rehearsing confrontations and confessions, but none of it had prepared her for the cold reality of watching him walk away, so close yet impossibly far. She could see the tension in his jaw, the way his hands clenched and unclenched, a silent battle raging behind his eyes. He was hurting too, she knew that, but the reasons behind his actions were a mystery that now seemed impossible to solve. "Dylan, wait." Her voice broke, carrying across the space between them like a fragile thread. He slowed slightly, just enough for her to feel a spark of hope, but then his shoulders squared and he kept walking, leaving her standing there, trembling with a mix of anger, heartbreak, and helpless longing. Shen Yue's mind raced, each thought louder than the last. Had she done something wrong? Had he stopped caring? Or was this about something deeper, something neither of them could yet face? The world around them continued as if nothing had happened, oblivious to the emotional earthquake that had just shaken the two of them. Crew members glanced nervously, some pretending not to notice, others whispering, speculating, fueling the storm of rumors that would follow. Shen Yue's legs felt like lead, but she forced herself forward, the need for answers overpowering the fear of rejection. Finally, she reached the edge of the lot where Dylan had paused by his car. He looked out at the horizon, his back still to her, the wind ruffling his hair, and in that moment, he seemed impossibly distant, as though he belonged to another world entirely. Shen Yue's heart ached, and she felt the weight of unspoken words pressing down on her. "Dylan, please," she whispered, her voice barely audible over the rustle of leaves and the distant hum of traffic. "I need to understand why. I need to know why you're leaving me like this." He turned then slowly, and for a moment their eyes met. The storm in his gaze was nothing like the warmth she remembered. It was sorrowful, pained, and heavy with a burden he refused to share. He opened his mouth, then closed it, as if the words he wanted to say were too dangerous to release. "I can't," he finally said, his voice low, trembling slightly but firm. "Not right now. I wish I could explain, but this is something I have to do alone." Shen Yue's chest tightened further, a painful, suffocating knot forming as she reached out instinctively. Her fingers brushed against his arm, a desperate attempt to bridge the chasm growing between them, but he stepped back, the faintest shake of his head telling her everything she needed to know. "You'll understand someday," he murmured, turning fully now, his figure framed by the fading light of the evening. "Just trust me." And with that, he walked away, leaving Shen Yue standing in the middle of the parking lot, the wind whipping around her, her heart pounding, and 1,000 questions burning in her mind. The emptiness was overwhelming, but beneath it, a spark of determination ignited. She would wait. She would try to understand. And no matter how far he walked, she would not let go of the hope that one day, they would find their way back to each other. As the shadows lengthened and the world continued its indifferent march, Shen Yue took a deep, shuddering breath. She closed her eyes, willing herself to stay strong, to gather the fragments of her courage and follow the only path she knew. The path toward the truth, toward Dylan, toward the heart she refused to let go of, even if he had walked away. The air was heavy with the promise of revelations yet to come, and though today had ended in heartbreak, tomorrow carried the possibility of answers, of confrontations, and perhaps, of the reunion that both of them desperately needed but neither dared to reach for yet. And so, under the waning light of a fading day, Shen Yue stood alone, but not defeated, her mind racing with the certainty that their story was far from over. Dylan turns his back on Shen Yue in a heart-stopping moment. Will they ever reconcile, or is this the end of their story? Emotional tension, shocking drama, and unforgettable reactions await in this fanfiction-inspired video. Stay glued to your screen for the part 2.